الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه. Welcome everybody to the Safina Society Nothing But Facts live stream on Election Day here in the state of New Jersey and in New York for today is the election, right? For both. So of course New York, we know that, but is the gubernatorial for NJ today as well? Yeah. November 4th. Oh, wait. No. Sorry. No, but they start, sorry. They're starting now. They're letting people, next Tuesday will be the final day. So it's early voting has started. And all these polls, the Manhattan Institute, Suffolk University, Victory Insights, Patriot Polling, Gotham Polling, more and more. So many. Out of 15, all of them have Mamdani. Out of the next 14, then 11 have Mamdani. So the Manhattan Institute, the Honan Strategy Group, and Harris X, these are all polls. They have Cuomo, and one of them even has Cuomo by 14 points. Just like, how do you have someone? One of them's got Mamdani by 24 points, the other's got Cuomo by 14 points. So that's a 38-point swing right there. That's a lot. I wonder, like, who are they asking? Right? Who are they asking? But in any event, we'll obviously all find out. But nonetheless, we know that the Zionists have also had their own poll out. You familiar with this, Fuzz? So they got their own poll out, which states that they asked people what makes they asked them a whole bunch of questions. If this, then would you support Israel? So they found out that the support of Israel only goes up when hatred of Islam goes up. It's like direct correlation. So the more people hate Islam, the more they end up supporting Israel. Yeah. So that's why billions of dollars have been spent in the last month. Billions. Fomenting more hatred of Muslims online. And you could tell, you go on X today, it's just no-name people showing up in your feed. Literally no-name people show up in your feed. And they're saying nonsense. And then, of course, the great follower, people like Megyn Kelly. You know, Megyn Kelly is the biggest follower. She just looks where the pack is. And when I look in politics and in media and all the stuff that goes on, you know something is establishment if she's doing it. Trump literally just almost destroyed her life in 2016. And then by 2020, when the right wing, the conservative party, is fully behind Trump, or more like 2022, before the third election. This is Trump involved in 3 elections. He won one, lost one, and then the one that he won again. She's running after him and going on the stage and hugging him and trying to be involved. Right? This is the guy that basically was retweeting stuff that no woman would want called about herself, retweeting pictures of her, but she ran after him. By 2025, when a lot of the right was now questioning Israel, now all of a sudden she starts questioning Israel. And now that the Zionists now have poured billions into Islam hate campaigns, now she's tweeting about there's nothing wrong with saying we don't want Sharia, we don't want Islam in our country, blah, blah, blah. She is she's like the highest paid follower you can find. She's literally like one click off of mainstream news. Right. So, all right, here we go. Sami Hamdi's arrest, of course, is not turning out not to be a simple deportation case, because if you are a visa holder in the United States, you don't have any rights to stay. You don't have the right to stay. They don't have to justify why they're going to send you back. If you have a B1 visa, H1 visa, student visa, any of these visas, they can simply tell you to leave. Let's just fact check that, because I did come upon that. Rights of visa holders. You know when you come upon something, but... Okay. So visa holders do have rights in the country. They are protected from illegal search and seizure. Okay. Of course, they have to be treated with due process, but the visa itself can be revoked at any time. Yeah. All right. The visa can be revoked at any time. Let me just double check that too. It can get revoked at any time. It's getting cold, isn't it? The rights of visa holders can be revoked at any time. Okay? And the government's discretion to revoke the visa is so broad that it's almost anything. It's so broad. So governments have broad discretion to revoke visas. And even legal permanent residents can have their status, green card. What are you? You're a citizen. Well done for you. Okay. At least to get your rights, right? So criminal activity, immigration fraud, overstaying your visa, of course. National security concern. But see, here's the thing. When you put legal language like that, it's not legal language. It's so broad and vague that it almost means nothing. Okay? It almost means nothing. Basic. So essentially, it's actually pretty easy for a nation, or this nation, to revoke your visa. But that's not what they're actually doing to Sami Hamdi. They're going to try to trump up a case against him. Yeah, a criminal case against him. For, maybe I shouldn't speak about this, but it's not just to be, it's so far, it looks like it's not just going to be a matter of visa revocation and go back to England. The State Department and DHS allege that he supports terrorism and poses a threat to national security, which in that case, they could charge him with that. And that's what they're going to try to do, cook up some nonsense. Okay, cook up some nonsense. DHS, ICE, State Department, they're all involved in this. So he was detained at San Francisco's International Airport on Sunday because of his criticism of Israel's genocide in Gaza. Let's ask another question. Wasn't there a guy in Nevada only a few weeks ago who actually was caught in a pedophilia ring and soliciting a minor? And this guy was shipped off on the same day back home safely in Israel, where he is right now. And this guy's name is, I'll get you his name, just for, we all know this case is a well-known case. Let's see what this guy's name is again. Do you know how many people have been arrested in Israel, in America, for child pornography or things of that nature, and just sent right back? It's insane.
So no case against him at all.
No case. No, send home. He sent him right back home to the comfort of his own home. Oh, here it is. Here it is. Tom Alexandrovich. So you're going to have Tom Alexandrovich, child rape in Nevada, flown out on the same day, 0 consequences. Sami Hamdi for saying stuff openly in public in front of everybody that everyone else is saying. So the U.S. government now, its immigration wing has been now controlled by Israel. When we say controlled, it doesn't have to be like some kind of direct control, but obviously it's obvious whose agenda it's serving, right? They're serving that agenda. There's no doubt about that. They're protecting that. So U.S. universities, their policies are now directed by Israel. The tech companies bought them all, most of them. So all the free speech and the algorithm on X is just ridiculous now. It's so inorganic. You know how you know something's inorganic? You look at the post, you see its content, just go to the comment section. It's the exact opposite of the content. So how is this thing getting up there? All right, so that's completely inorganic. All of it's inorganic. What else are they going to control? So they already control the foreign policy. When I say control, I mean they have an oversized influence to the point that you know the rules are really being set from Tel Aviv. The broad general principles are being set from Tel Aviv for foreign policy, for now higher ed, for now media, social media. Oh, mainstream media a long time ago, social media. And now immigration. We're a colony. You start to feel like this is a colony. But the other nation isn't a big nation that dominated over a weaker nation. No, this is a parasite that got into every organ of the nation and is now driving it for its other country's benefit. Which, subhanAllah, when you look at what is the vision of Muslims in the United States, it's the exact opposite of this. I would not support a Muslim vision in America that is self-serving. It's not what the Quran tells us how to live. The Quran says you are the best nation brought out to people. And why do I say that? I say that because most American Muslims are pretty well off. When you go to, if I was to drop you in a random masjid, Fazl, how long you've been in America now? Your whole life, almost 10, 11 years. Okay. Almost your whole life. Your whole, minus the first 5 years of life, because you don't really want to remember anything. So, and you've traveled around the country, you would say?
I would say, yeah.
Been to like 5-10 states.
I don't know, yeah.
If I was to tell you, I'm dropping you off at a random masjid in the United States, a random mosque in the United States, the perception of it is that it's going to be a nice mosque, right? And all I have to do is wait a couple hours. The next prayer is going to, Adhan is going to go off. We're going to pray. And I'm going to say, hey, brothers, I'm so-and-so from such and such. I'm stranded. Just need some help. And I'll be out of your hair. I'm not even going to ask you for cash. Just a meal, something like that, right? And you'll get it because you're dealing with an pretty much affluent community. That's the dominant, that's the high percentage. We're totally not an ummah. We're an ummah that follows the muhajirin and the ansar. The muhajirin are the fighting leaders who sacrifice everything. The ansar are the welcoming, generous, selfless hosts. That's our DNA. Spiritual DNA is the stories, the people you look up to, generation after generation after generation. You've been telling the story of Abu Bakr as-Siddiq, Abu Sa'id al-Khudri, Abu Ayyub al-Ansari from the Ansar as well, and then all the Muhajirin who sacrificed everything and were great leaders. And the Ansar who were generous hosts, selfless, completely selfless hosts. Those are the people that we follow. And when you tell those stories for over 1,000 plus, almost 1,500 years, a millennium and a half, it totally enters the whole character. If character had a DNA, it would be infused in it. Like, imagine you have a ball of cotton and then you took dye and you colored it. You poured the dye or dripped the dye. Every day you drop a little bit. That color is never, ever going to be removed from the ball of cotton. It's one now. That's the DNA of Muslims. And the way that we handle the attacks that are coming, Zionist-based, using the right to attack us. The way, reality of it is not what's important. How we feel about the reality of it is not what's important. The only thing that matters is how you react to it. This is something I tell people all the time. Don't get so upset about the reality of things, because that's irrelevant. The only relevant thing is, how do you react to this situation? The situation's here, it's here. You're not changing anything. There's no point in changing it. Hey, Amaro, could you move this TV over a little bit? Yeah. I miss my TV, to be honest. But that's okay.
We need like little monitors instead.
Yeah, it's okay. Yeah.
Definitely need one like right here as well.
But
you know, guess here, it's kind of awkward.
Yeah. Yeah, that's better. So it's irrelevant how you feel about it. It's irrelevant who did it. It's irrelevant what their motive is. When the rubber hits the road, nothing matters except how you react, right? And this is where practical people, if you can clean your brain, you can become practical. I should say clean your heart. Clean your heart from emotions, right? Too much emotion in the wrong place. Emotional reactions. Let's be practical. What actually is going to impact and change the situation? It's how we react. Nothing else matters. And that's why when we say emotional reaction, it's usually not smart. It's not a smart thing. Emotional reaction is not an intelligent way to react. You're just wasting time. You're wasting energy. So you have to think, okay, they're going to go at us this route. Our job is to do what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says. All right. In Surah Ar-Ra'd. Actually, you know what, Omar? Let's pull that up. Pull up Surah Ar-Ra'd, ayah 17. Extremely, extremely important ayah. I forgot I can pull stuff up here myself. Let's try it now. But don't put my iPad on the screen until I give you the green light.
I think try the third, first, third. I think I was messing with that.
Folks, we got a new piece of a new toy, basically.
It's called USB radio. It's not plugged in. It's plugged in, but unplugged. Is your iPhone plugged in?
It's plugged in now. It wasn't a second ago.
Try to unplug it.
Okay, I'm ready. No problem. Let's wait until we figure that out. We're going to read a little bit from Surah Al-Dhariyat today, but I'm going to share with you right now something I think is extremely important. This ayah is one of the reasons why I believe this. We will not establish ourselves anywhere. It is only Allah who establishes you if you follow certain principles and if you follow certain behaviors. Okay? And there you go. Boom. Look at that. You guys want the white color? You want white color, correct? So let's go light. Bang. How's that? It's blurry only because I have the tafsir. Yeah, it's a bit. The quality is fine. It's just that it's small. Me? Yeah, but it'll cut off. No, I can't zoom in on this app. All right, bring it over. All right, look, everybody, right here. Oh, you know what?
Turn the text bigger.
Where is that?
Settings and changed.
There. How's that?
It looks really good, actually. I'm looking at it.
Okay.
YouTube, yeah.
There, everyone see this? But Elif, Omar, it's cut off on the left side a little bit more. Just to see how it's cut off on the left a little bit.
The quality is good.
Okay. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. The ayah that I'm about to read to you is the blueprint for how and whom does Allah establish on the earth. This is going to be our philosophy, and this is literally a political vision. It's a philosophy of how to live. And I'm actually recording this for somebody too, while we're on the stream here. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. أنزل من السماء ماء فسالت أودية بقدرها فاحتمل السيل زبدا رابيا ومما يوقدون عليه في النار ابتغاء حلية أو متاع زبد مثله كذلك يضرب الله الحق والباطل. And here's the important line. فأما الزبد فيذهب جفاء وأما ما ينفع الناس فيمكث في الأرض كذلك يضرب الله الأمثال. This ayah here literally it means he sends down rain from the sky, causing the valleys to flow, each according to its capacity. The current then carry along rising foam, similar to the slag produced from the metal that people melt in the fire for ornaments or tools, meaning the excess stuff, the stuff that we don't need. It's just the little dusts, basically. When you make something with wood or with metal or with gold even, the dust goes around. Okay? This is how Allah compares truth to falsehood. The worthless scum is then cast away. So Omar is a woodworker. You guys know that? When he woodworks, you're going to have dust everywhere. When you erase something, the rubber's everywhere. What do you do with that stuff? You cast it away. It's not important. It has no benefit to you. The worthless scum is then cast away. But what benefits people remains on the earth. This is how Allah sets forth parables. What benefits people remains on the earth. That's the key right there. The last ayah. That's all I really wanted to point to. فَأَمَّا الزَّبَدُ فَيَذْهَبُ جُفَاءً. That which is useless, it just goes away. وَأَمَّا مَا يَنْفَعُ النَّاسَ فَيَمْكُثُ فِي الْأَرْضِ. That which benefits people, not only Muslims, not selfishness. What benefits the people, the public, everyone. فَيَمْكُثُ فِي الْأَرْضِ كَذَلِكَ يَضْرِبُ اللَّهُ الْأَمْثَالِ. This is how Allah gives you parables. He teaches you by these. Let's look at the tafsir of Al-Baghawi. We always read from Al-Baghawi. Let's go straight to... Always read from Al-Baghawi. Yeah, it's good, right? Yeah. All right. When Allah Ta'ala brings down the rain, all right, then the rain follows its paths. All right. فاحتمل السيل الذي حدث من ذلك الماء رابيا الزبد الخبث. So when the rain is following along these paths, some dust and dirt get in there. But that stuff goes quickly off to the side and it becomes a foam, a scum, a foam on the sea, on the water. All right. Where is it? However, ومما يوقدون عليه في النار يوقدون ما ينفع الناس ولا مخاطبة مهما وقراءة آخر. Okay, so he says here, فَأَمَّا الزَّبَدْ الَّذِي عَلَى السَّيْلِ, that scum at the top of the sea, فَيَذْهَبُ جُفَاء, it goes. It's useless. It's just on the edges. Okay? And it's tossed off to the side. وَأَمَّا مَا يَنْفَعُ النَّاسَ فَيَمْكُثُ فِي الْأَرْضِ الماء الفلز من الذهب والفضة الماء والفلز والذهب والفضة والصفر والنحاس, that which benefits people. فَيَمْكُثُ فِي الْأَرْضِ يَبْقَى وَلَا يَذْهَبْ. Okay, it remains and it never goes away. This has to be our political philosophy. I'm telling you, we're on the wrong track. If we ever come to the point, and we're good now, Omar, you could push it aside. And the audience can tell us which was better, when I put my iPad or when Omar goes to the Quran.com and shows the ayah. Okay. And let's do it again with yours. You know why? Because our editor is going to make a decision. He's going to say, hold, let's do it again. Open, Omar, your thingy.
I think the Quran.com looks nicely, but Rod. But you can also.
It's a Rod 17.
You can also open it from your iPad too. If you want. Yeah, it would look the same if you open it on your iPad.
Oh, yeah, probably. Yeah, you're right. But that's okay. So let's compare then my iPad with yours, with your screen.
They already be the same. Especially if you put your iPad in landscape mode, it would be the same.
Yeah. All right, you have it up there? Good. All right, let's do a summarized version of this. Alrighty, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. How does Allah keep, or how do people earn Allah's protection in the earth? Allah gives us a very simple rule. It's like so simple you can't imagine. Allah says very simply, فَأَمَّا الزَّبَدُ فَيَذْهَبُ جُفَاءً وَأَمَّا مَا يَنْفَعُ النَّاسَ فَيَمْكُثُ فِي الْأَرْضِ كَذَلِكَ يَضْرِبُ اللَّهُ الْأَمْثَالَ. The last part of this ayah from Surah Ar-Ra'd, Surah 13 and verse 17. Worthless scum is cast away. The dust, the stuff that when a river flows and it gets trash, the trash always floats to the top, right? And when the river is crashing against one side of the mountain and the other, then that stuff sticks. But the clean water stays. Likewise, when a woodworker is working, all the little shards, get rid of them. The only benefit maybe if you throw it in the fireplace. When you use an eraser, and you erase stuff, you keep the rubber that's on the pencil and you throw the rest away. You have no use for it. So you have no use. It's going to get cast away. وَأَمَّا مَا يَنْفَعُ النَّاسَ فَيَمْكُثُ فِي الْأَرْضِ. But as for that which benefits people, it will remain on the earth. That's the key right here. Very simple philosophy we have. In sum, we have a very simple philosophy, and it should be our political philosophy too. Because being established on the earth, like you're a minority here, and you got a bunch of people who are nationalists, who are closet KKK, who are crusaders in suits, who are basically being egged on, and they also believe it. You're like France for the French, China for the Chinese. We don't have that. We sort of don't have that belief. We believe in property rights, but we believe that الْأَرْضَ لِلَّهِ يُورِثُهَا مَنْ يَشَاءُ. This earth, it's Allah's. He makes whoever He wants to live wherever He wants. And it so happens to be that immigration's happening in certain places, whether good or bad. Native Americans didn't like it when Europeans came, but they came. That was Allah's will, right? So we don't believe in that. And we got a bunch of people trying to make sure that we're miserable here and that we don't live here, we have no influence here. It's not up to them. That's the thing. They're not in control. They may feel in control. Their numbers may be greater. It's Allah's will at the end of the day. And who is Allah going to keep on the earth? Who is He going to establish on the earth? The people who benefit others. So a person who goes around benefiting everyone else, Allah will ensure he stays. The person who all he wants to do is ensure his political safety, his wealth, he's self-serving, he's at the bottom of the list. If he's strong, okay, good, but no one's going to like you. You're just a selfish person like everyone else and like other people that we're talking about. This cannot be our politics in any way, shape, and form. It cannot be our vision going forward in any way, shape, and form. I'm telling you, it's wrong. And it's not going to work. It's going to fail. Initiatives like this and the people who work doing this soup kitchen. I wish that I had the time to be able to come every night to the soup kitchen. But right now, I don't have the time to come in on Wednesday nights. But the team that runs it, may Allah reward them. This is the work that's going to keep Muslims in the country. This kind of work. When the economy goes to hell, and the amount of, which is happening in front of us, right? Amount of people who are poor, amount of people who have no food, and you can actually take dinner off of his list 7 days a week. And we don't have to serve the whole ummah. The whole country. We're serving New Brunswick. We're serving even a portion of New Brunswick. Allah only, he tasks you with what he tasks you with what's in front of you. We don't have to worry about someone 3 miles down. No, let's worry about just this area right here. And you literally can reach a point where you have taken off the table from them, off of their bills, off of their concern for the future. Dinner every day. Every day. And a cup of coffee and a bagel every morning. I want to have bagels and croissants and tea and coffee every morning. And that won't even be coming in. Maybe it's coming in. Who knows? Actually, you know what? Maybe they come in and we play the Athkar of the morning. Every morning. Come in, nobody talk. No one wants to talk in the morning. It's 7 a.m. You come in, there's a table for coffee, a table for bagels, a table for croissants. Let's make it simple, croissants. Because bagels requires cream cheese, which requires knives, which requires a mess. Croissant table, coffee table, tea table. That's it. No talking. Just come in, take your stuff, and go. Right? Is that not an amazing service that every single day we have free food, free breakfast? Move that over a little bit so I could see. Yeah, there you go. Not so over. Yeah, there you go. What's the question? Who? Jaffer Taylor. Do you have a template or step-by-step guide on how to soup kitchen? Yes, I'll tell you this. You're not going to like it, though. Yeah, you're not going to like my template. I like to do things very simply, and I like people to not have to climb huge mountains. But I'll tell you what the template is. You get your buddies. When do you get together with your buddies? You find out what that time is. Let's say you always get together at Jummah. Let's say you get together Friday night. Let's say you play soccer on Saturdays. Let's say whatever. You play basketball on Saturday morning. Or Tuesday night. Whatever it is that you do and you hang out with your friends on that night that you're always there, everybody coughs up a couple bucks. Of course, nobody reaches for money in their pocket anymore. It's all Zelle and Venmo. And that's the first thing you're going to do is find out when do we always get together. Number 2, where do the poor people live? Poor people don't have to be, we're not talking about living under a bridge. Homeless. No, working class people. Now, let me ask it another way. When you need to go and hire a painter or a worker, where do you go? That's the question. We all know. For example, if I wanted someone really quick, I need to do a job real quick. You drive down Jersey Ave, you turn at the Walgreens, they're all going to be there. And they're going to say, what is $15 an hour, $10 an hour, $20 an hour? Nobody works for $10 an hour anymore. And he says, what is the job? I say to him, I need to pull some wallpaper off the wall. Okay, yeah, I can do that. I need to do the leaves in the yard. No problem, I could do that. Get in the car. He gets in the car. You take him there. He does the job. You pay him at the end. You drop him back off at the Walgreens. Okay? We all know that. Everyone has an area like that in every town. You know what the proof is? If you have a restaurant of this type of thing, who is mowing the lawns? Who's cutting the French fries? These are the types that are doing it, right? So every single part of town, suburb, has an area where these so-called day laborers, where they work. And you'll sometimes see them riding buses, etc. And in here, the whole family lives here. This is where the day laborers live. Like where I am right now, if I was to throw a baseball as far as I could, right, left, up, and back, it's all day laborers. This is where they live. This is not where they just they get picked up about 2 miles that way. Less than 2 miles. 1 mile to Sam's Chicken. Between Sam's Chicken and the Walgreens is where they get picked up for work. But they live here. And they're not going to live far from where they get picked up. So you have to identify where is that location. And then you identify when you and your friends get together. And then the third step is you guys take 10 minutes out of your day, 15 minutes out of your day. after you're done or before you start whatever you're hanging out doing, go to the local pizzeria, go to the local burger joint, buy some food, and just give it out. That's how simple we started. I literally started this because I came to the area, to New Brunswick, to this area around here, and I said, we got to do dawah. Then I thought to myself, why would anyone listen to us? If somebody were to literally say, just walk right by you, I don't think they'd be guilty. Why would anyone listen to us? You don't know us. We don't have any connection to you. You have no trustworthiness in our eyes. So I thought, okay, that's true. Why don't we have any trustworthiness? Because we actually don't care about their livelihood. We don't care about their dunya. Their dunya is so bad. They're the ignored people. They're literally the invisibles. They're literally invisible. When you go into a high-end restaurant, they're the ones who are doing all the work. Well, actually, I should say every restaurant. They're literally the ones doing it. When you go into any suburban neighborhood, you see these trucks. And these trucks having all the equipment to mow the lawn and hedge the bushes and all that stuff. Trim the bushes and all that stuff. But you never actually see the face of the person who's doing the work. It's almost like a faceless being going around doing the work. All of this is completely unaligned, misaligned, wrong, incompatible with our spiritual DNA, which I mentioned earlier, the ways of the Ansar and the Muhajirin, and of course the prophets. They don't do this. There are no invisibles in their circle. The prophets do not have invisibles. Prophets, they see everybody. And as we live like this, and we go to i'tikaf, and we pray, and we recite the Quran, and we have aesthetic, and we have all this beautiful stuff, and we got families put together, kept together, and all this benefit, and then we have invisibles. No, cannot be. Something's wrong with this. This is elitism. You're going to get overthrown. You're going to deserve it too. You're going to deserve it when it happens. So I thought to myself, we have to actually leak a little bit of our wealth into this community on a regular basis. Regular basis. It's not going to be one big chunk. No, every week a little bit. Every week a little bit. And that's how the work started. So this we're talking, we started in December. It was cold when we started. In December of 2016, I think. Yeah. If I'm not mistaken. It was 2016, 17, something like that. It was cold. And I said, and I thought about it, and we were doing dhikr. It was dhikr night. And dhikr night, Aisha's at 7:30, and back in the, and masjid clears out. We get to the whole masjid all night, we do dhikr. And dhikr night usually lasts an hour. Then there's tea, then there's cakes, and people hang out. And so we're all doing this, and I'm thinking to myself, how are we going to start this? I said, you know what? I saw a brother, he had a hard kufi on. You know, sometimes kufis are soft, and sometimes they're hard. I said, give me that. I said, guys, everyone empty your pockets. Put money in the kufi. Pass it around. We got a decent amount of change. And I said, guys, the dawah begins tonight. We took that money, we put our jackets on, we drove over to New Brunswick, 2.5 miles from the masjid to here, and we went to Sam's Chicken. Sam's Chicken is a Palestinian brother.
What's been that long?
Yeah.
He's been here for a while.
Oh, he's been here a long time. And I said, give us food for this amount of money, but make the food in packages. So we took that food, and we're like, all right, now time to find people to give it to. And in the beginning, we had this mistake that we're literally looking for the homeless, but it was so cold, nobody was out. We walked a lot. We were freezing to hand out all the food. We were freezing. Wintertime is tough. Nobody wants to be outside. But that's literally what we did every dhikr night and every family night. Every Friday night we get together, we go out and we do this. Cough up the money. Then here's the thing. When you start something off, someone's going to look at you and say, this is not efficient. Do it this way. And then you adjust, right? So the mentality to start something off and the mentality to be efficient at it are usually two different brains. And my brain was, this has to happen. We have to do it. I don't care how efficient or inefficient it is. It has to happen. And it's not going to happen by us sitting and thinking about how to efficiently do it. It's going to happen by doing it inefficiently and then discovering a tweak here and a tweak there and a tweak here and a tweak there over time. So most people, Shaitan tricks them, I think, and they're lazy and they trick themselves by saying, all right, let's do it, but let's do it in the most efficient, studied way. 4 weeks are going to go by before you do anything. I can't stand this type of thing. So our method was completely inefficient, but it was efficient, in fact. Because by doing it inefficiently, you inspire someone who's doing it with you to say, hold on, there's a better way. If you hadn't even started, you wouldn't have inspired this person to say, this makes no sense. And let's have a meeting and start a WhatsApp group and get everyone together. This is a guaranteed way to not achieve anything, to not start anything. That you need when you're doing a multi-million-dollar project like the masjid. Like we got to think at every step and have a meeting and have everything. That's different because that's you're now talking about humongous scale. This is a small thing, but it's going to become a big thing. But how do you even start it? Even this masjid, how did it start? Imam Zaid said he found somebody who's willing to have who had a storefront and willing to give him cheap rent, and he said, "Let's start the masjid." Boom, that's it. No, years later, what has become, right? So it all developed into something way better, and that was basically after about 3 months, we discovered where, and it wasn't. I can't even remember who discovered it. He discovered it. He discovered the area where all the day laborers go to work and come home from work. And that's the area we started to pitch ourselves. So instead of walking around looking for people to give food to, we just put ourselves there. And then we started, somebody said, you know what, I'll be responsible for calling everybody and getting containers of food. So what we did in the beginning is we bought the containers, because we know if you have too many steps, people won't do it. We bought the containers. We gave the containers out to people and said, fill these containers with the food from your home. Just give us some leftovers. If every family in the masjid gave us 1 container of leftovers, that's like 200 containers, right? And then eventually people loved doing it. They bought the containers on their own. So to buy the people containers was not efficient, but that's the only way to get people to move quick. Because when I give you the empty container, you're going to feel bad about not giving it back. And each container was different food. Whatever the people had, they put the leftovers there, or they put like the first serving in the container, boom, that's the Sadaqa. Now our family will eat. So we started doing that. And then the containers, the rule became, or the system became, you bring your container to Jummah and you put it under the table that's in the atrium of the masjid. Right? That was the system. Then after Jummah, we'd all hang out and then we'd go to lunch. But before we go to lunch, actually, no, we weren't going to lunch yet after Jummah. We'd all get the food from the containers, take them to the cars, and then go out to that area, which is again like 1.5 miles. We'd open the trunk and we give the food out. Sometimes it reached the point that we had over 100 containers. So we were filling vans and trucks. Then another development happened. Hey, open your Bluetooth, play the Adhan. And the Adhan will be the marker that we're here. So it was Enes. I don't know if you know Enes, but Enes is the brother who took the lead on this. He would back up his truck, pop the trunk open, put the Adhan on. We did it enough times that as soon as people would hear the Adhan, they would know that there's food. Right? And they would come in and there was a ledge and there was a park. So you got the Walgreen. It's a weird area where it's a triangle. And there's like 5 streets all intersecting. It's in a weird way. And there's a beautiful park. So, and there was like a ledge. So we would put all the food on the ledge and we'd give it out. Right? And then we started with clothes after that. And we did this for like years. And Ramadan was something, Ramadan, every day. Every day. There were people that would say, today is my day, today, tomorrow. And they would bring huge foil trays. They bring these foil trays, and then we would put them in the containers and then drive them out. And every single day before iftar, we'd give out food in Ramadan. Then the summer, the guys were asking for water. We didn't realize that there are the number 2 needs. For men, water. For women, diapers. Yeah, diapers is the biggest need.
Yeah, that is a great idea. Though.
Yeah, that.
You create a positive association.
Exactly.
Whenever I see someone like begging,
Yeah.
like before I reach them, I put on a qasida or something,
Mm-hmm.
and I put it on blast.
Yeah.
And then when I pull up, I put the window down, and then they hear it.
Mm-hmm.
And every time I do that, and this guy, like I always see him, he always hears it.
Yeah.
I'm like,
And here's the thing: is that after the first 2 years, interesting thing. After the first 2 years, a guy came up to us and he said, "Which church are you part of?" And I said, "Subhanallah, like here we didn't want to come out in any specifically Islamic way, overtly Muslim way. It was like, let's just genuinely build a concern and share our money. That's all it is. Genuinely, we share." So after that, I said, no, we're not going to do all this work and people think it's some iglesia, right? So we started wearing thobes and put in the adhan after that. At least people know who we are. And so what we end up doing is, during COVID, someone who's been observing this for years comes up to us and says, I just got a lot of money. There's a house. We're going to buy it. I'm like, whoa, I don't know if I'm ready for that. He said, well, I'm buying it for you guys. Right. Right. And it has tenants in it, and you see the rent, pay the down payment. So, pay the monthly payments.
Is that the same person who donated 500?
No, different person. So so he says to me, come and look at this house. And I'm like, is this for real? We come to this house. The lady opens the door. The owner's house is she's living in the house. Okay. And we walk in, and as soon as we walk in, the telenovela, which is the soap operas in Spanish, is blasting on the TV. Literally, as soon as we walk in, the camera pans to a hijabi Muslim woman in a Spanish telenovela, which is not normal at all. They don't even have like some kind of relevant Muslim population that they would have to do that, right? He looked at me, he said, that's it, we're getting this place. That's a sign. We did the whole walkthrough, and we got the place. And it was Ramadan that we got it. And we started off, it was a very weird feeling coming in. Like, it was off. I felt so weird coming into the place. It was a new part of town we hadn't been accustomed to. And I didn't know if it was a dangerous part of town, a safe part of town. And we said, all right, let's clean this place up. We start cleaning it up. And I thought to myself, you know what? I'll tell you what we're not going to do. We're not going to sit down and have meeting after meeting after meeting after meeting. We're just going to start giving away food. And we're going to pick a day, and we're never going to leave that day. And the day we picked was Wednesday. And the time we picked was 6 to 7. So we can get home at night easy. How are we going to get the food? Let's call up the same people who make the food and say, bring us food. They bought us a whole bunch of food. And it wasn't even a lot. And on the first day, I'm like, how are we going to attract people to come into the building? Nobody knows it. They just think it's a house. And it was a dinky door. The whole house was nasty, right? Everything about it was not nice. So we put a lamp outside, extension cord, a lamp, and shined it on a sign that says, comida gratis, free food. People would not come in. It looked suspicious, right? It looked like this is a place where you're going to get kidnapped and killed. So we don't speak Spanish too. And it's like
ice.
Yeah, it's like an ice setup. And we got a white guy. We got Ryan with his blonde hair out on the street telling everyone comida gratis, free food. This is like an ice trap, right? So nobody was coming in. And we ended up having to give out the food out in the street. Maybe 1 or 2 people came in. The second Wednesday, 9 people. First we gave out to 7, next 9. That's it. It started off so paltry. But there is an efficiency in that, because when you start and things turn out bad, you feel bad. You have to get that feeling out of yourself by getting better. Whereas if you're just sitting looking at blueprints and plans, nothing happens. You don't feel bad. You don't fail. And the failures were not that great because we advertised this. We told the community, we're doing this. And one brother actually said, count me in for a $2,000 donation every month. I was like, whoa, okay, fine. And so he messaged me after the first week and said, how was the dinner, the soup kitchen? I was like, oh, that's 7 people. He messaged me like 2 days later and he says, you know what? I need my donation to go somewhere more effective. So I'm yanking the 2,000. Right? So I was like, wait a second, what did you expect? You expected poof, a 200-person soup kitchen is going to come up overnight? That's not how anything works, right? That's not how anything in life works. So that's the answer to that person's question about how to start the soup kitchen. If I was to plop right now into a city, I would just do it the same way. Not everyone, most people do not have connections to get somebody to donate a house. But what a group of guys could potentially do is pull some money together and buy an apartment or rent an apartment. That's a waste of money, though. And start doing it. Now, the stupid thing here. Now, when I went to the township and I said to them, I just want to make sure I'm doing things right. I'm giving out food from this house that we own. And they said, you guys own the house? Yes. You manage the house? Yes. You can give out food all you want. I said, yeah, because by analogy, people invite people to their home all the time, right? So there was no issue with that whatsoever. The only issue came up was that when we inform them that we're doing it in the name of a nonprofit. Okay. And that said, that requires a zoning change. And then now that we're on the radar, then they basically yanked, you know, when you have rain and then you pull the mat and all the bugs come out, then they basically did that to us. And they said, let's do everything straight. And then that was a 6-month period that was scary. When the township is coming at you and they all work in the same office. So for example, buildings and permits is on the same floor. They can yell at each other. Buildings and permits is down the hall that way. Rent control is on us down the across the hall. They all working in the same floor. And they all somehow we got on our radar. And we got on their radar and they started to come at us to make everything official. That's their job though, right? I mean, for you, it sounds shocking. And then when they send an email, they're dealing with a big city here. They're not trying to they could care less how you feel. Okay. They could care less how you feel. They would send you, and they could care less whether or not you understand the email. So they'll send you something and say, you need to comply by code, what, blah, 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 which you can find on this linked website. You know how confusing that is? And then it will say stuff that you don't even understand. So I'm telling you, it was not a pleasant, this was almost a year ago. It was not a pleasant time because they came at us hard. And they would come at us in conventional ways, such as a letter in the mail. If you get a letter in the mail these days, what is a chance, a likelihood, and you're not waiting for it? What's the likelihood that it's just going to sit in a pile of nonsense mail? what do they call that kind of mail that nobody wants? Junk mail, right? So a lot of their letters sat in a pile of junk mail to the point that they came and knocked, and they thought we were ignoring them, and we weren't, right? Ignoring them. Then we get they give you the letter, and they say you need to comply with this. You open the letter, you can't understand a word that's in it. There are construction terms, there are township terms, there are civic terms, there's forms, there's stuff that you have no clue what's being thrown at you. And then only after days and weeks and months do you start to figure, oh, okay, now I get everything. I get everything now. One of the things they said is that there was some issue with our windows. We had to deal with that. We had to get all the windows fixed. No clue. And when they speak in very harsh and almost scary terms. We say, all right, this needs to be complied with. You need to fix this situation within 6 weeks or else we shut down the whole building. What? What do you mean shut down the building? No, nobody can live there. Nobody can ever walk in. What are you talking about, right? So we had to, that's the type of stuff that was very scary and very worrisome in the beginning. But alhamdulillah, with the help of people and a lot of dua and a lot of help of some professionals, we got through it. And now we got through it to the point that we were awarded the official soup kitchen position. Rezoning was given to us with the shart that we make our kitchen commercial grade. Okay, and we're fundraising for that now. And Arif, why don't you, since we're on the subject, you know what I realized, Omar? It may be possible even to put, I don't know if this whole setup here and the TV here, because that allows you to see over it. Because I noticed you and Edif could barely see.
The background though.
Oh, the background. You're right. Yeah, that wouldn't have
You
worked.
can see over the TV. We can move it a bit closer and you'll be able to see better.
Yeah.
Or we change the TV, like I said, make it like half this size.
Yeah.
Or we can, and then we can put it here.
The monitor.
Put a monitor. We put it on a stand.
Yeah, I think you should. Yeah, that'd be good.
You know the stream deck thing. You could press the buttons to change.
What's Stream Deck?
It's that thing that we have on where you can just press the buttons to change the scenes.
Yeah.
You put it on your table instead because we don't use it.
Smart.
So you can change the scene.
You could, yeah, you could alter.
You can switch to this, like dua, this and that.
You know, no way. All right, teach me how to do it.
It's easy. It's buttons.
We could also configure it to do like little animations. You know those
Noises. Yeah.
Like little
I want that. I want that. So I can click what noise I want to be done.
We can do it. We can do it.
And everyone, throw up the load up. Yeah, there we go. La Cocina kitchen upgrade, $4,474 out of $44,000. Why don't we get to 4,500 today? No, why don't we get to 5,000 even today? Right?
We were at like 100 last week, right?
Huh?
We were at like 0 last
Yeah.
week.
So why don't we get to 4,500, if not more? Maybe 4,600 today. All right. What's the big discussion going on about taqiyya on the chat?
Some Christian person.
Taqiyya is halal if you are trying to save your life or someone else's life, or limb, because we have life and limb. What's a limb? For example, eyesight. You don't want to live without eyes. You don't want to live without a hand. You don't want to live without an ear or a foot. You don't want to. So that's what we call life and limb. Okay. Life and limb. Life and limb allows you to tell lies. It allows the sinful to become permitted on condition. What's that one condition? It cannot injure somebody else. It cannot hurt someone else. And really, we can even say a severe injury. So, for example, if someone was to say, I'm going to kill you, or you punch Fuzzle. Oh, I'll punch Fuzzle because he's not going to get hurt by that, right? Sorry to make you the example, Fuzz. Okay. But if somebody says to me, you're going to get killed unless you cut his arm off, I have to get killed, right? I have to get killed. I can't cut his arm off. You have to steal his watch or else I kill you. Yeah, I can steal his watch because I can buy him another watch, right? What is that, a $10,000 watch? Okay. Even if it's a $25,000 watch, we can buy you another $25,000 watch, right? But if he says something like, I'm going to kill you, go and cut off his hand, can't do that. Got to get killed. So that's the limit of what we call taqiyya. Yeah. And the problem is that some religious sects do believe in taqiyya, and they just do taqiyya all the time. So once you got it, Omar? Great. Once you do that, it's actually Dorota Misowicz Patalas. He or she, whoever it is, pulling a type of joke that's that blonde guy with the beard. He does those kinds of dark humor, like inappropriate or dark humor, misplaced humor. I have him on my feed all the time. What's his name? He's a comedian. His name is, I'll get you his name. He's actually hilarious, but his comedy, it's known as dark comedy. Let me get it for you. I'll tell you who it is. 1 second. He's like a Slovakian origin guy. I can't find him. Suddenly, they appear in your feed all the time. And then when you want them, you can't find them. That's how it is. But his comedy is like that. It's dark comedy. Her joke was, or his joke, I don't know if that's a he or she. I would never dare to tell Muslims where they live because they're very violent. Right? So that kind of joke is known as it's like a misplaced punchline or misplaced emotion. I can't find the guy. It's crazy. These guys are on your feed whenever you don't want them. And then when you do look for them, you can't find them. No? George Carlin, no. He's not dark humor. He's like more like political satire and truth, to be honest. Jezelnik, that's his name. Jezelnik. That's a type of comedian. He has some hilarious jokes. I mean, it's so bad, basically. That's the type. Anthony Jeselnik. The type of comedy that he says, it's like, it's so bad you can't believe it, right? So it's not, it's Jeselnik. That's a kind of joke that he would make. But anyway, I guess someone's hate watching us. So all of this, we got to talking about the soup kitchen for the simple reason that our philosophy of living in the country, anywhere, if you want to be established, the way to do it is not to go and try to establish it. Be beneficial to the people. That's it. How did Allah Ta'ala establish Musa in Egypt, in the house of the Pharaoh? Allah made the wife of the Pharaoh love him. And before the wife of the Pharaoh loved him, the servant of the wife of the Pharaoh found him, loved him. She looked at him, she loved him. She said, that was the first step. Oh, let me take her to the Pharaoh's wife, Asya. Take him. So she took him to Asya. As soon as Asya looked at him, she loved him. Same thing with Prophet Yusuf. How did Allah establish Yusuf in Egypt? As soon as the Aziz saw him, he loved him. As soon as the wife of the Aziz saw him, she loved him. That's how you establish yourself, through the hearts. Through the hearts. And that's why I think that's the main reason Mamdani's winning, because people just like him. Now, whether that like is justified, true, genuine, is it good, or is it just a shallow emotion? That's a different subject. But he did resonate with them by talking about their problems. Okay. So that's basically the motive of Muslims that we have to have. And yeah, people are going to hate on us, but as Shaykh Abdul Qadir al-Saqaf said, he said, "Aturidunaha barida." When you remember that story? Shaykh Abdul Qadir al-Saqaf, when he had a majlis, a man stood up, told him off, the usual thing. Oh, you guys are this, that, and the other. Next day, one of his students comes with all the proofs for what we're doing and ready to debate the guy. So Shaykh Abdul Qadir, Habib Abdul Qadir al-Saqaf smiled at him and shook his head and he said, "Aturiduha barida?" Means you want this rank and this position of and all this blessing. Do you want it without any wrinkles? No. It's going to come with hardship. So this is part of the hardship. Okay. Derota Miziux Patalis. It is not hate. I am concerned for my safety and that of my children from Muslims. Nothing to say. Just you have to live and see. What can I do? If you believe that Muslims practice taqiyya in the first place, then no words can benefit you, right? Because you don't believe our words in the first place.
Why are you asking us?
So don't ask the question. What you're going to have to do is live and see. Look around and see. Okay? That's it. What else can you tell people? And they may see the best side of you and still hate you. All right? You just have to live through the noise. Keep going through the noise. And through the plots and the scheming of the Zionists. Because this is all Zionist scheming. And it's about to get 10 times worse than what it's ever been before. Adif, let's see on our...
I think hundreds of thousands of children in Palestine are... Oh, but their safety,
Yeah, what about the... Yeah, exactly. I mean, we're the ones who should be afraid. Every brown person should be afraid of white people. If we're going to go by history, right? Who are the ones who did all the damage and the killing in the last few centuries?
1 million in Iraq.
1 million in Iraq. We just had how many hundreds of thousands in Palestine?
Little kids,
Afghanistan, 20 years of war.
We should be scared of you guys.
Who should be afraid of who? All of Central America ravaged and destroyed by America making sure to control them. Okay. India, by the British. All the Native Americans here in Canada and Australia and the United States. SubhanAllah. So, aside from the fact that so much of the stuff that's being said about Muslims itself is not even true. Like the grooming gangs and stuff that they said in the UK, it wasn't even a fact. It's false. All right, let's hypothetically say a bunch of guys raped a bunch of people. Would we condemn it? We would kill him. In our Sharia, we would kill him. You would want Sharia, right? Because we would execute these guys. We would execute them ourselves. Forget British law, which is, again, I say again, a very stupid country. By its own principles, by British nationalist principles, they just said, okay, this is our nation here. Let's just give it away. I'm not saying I agree with all their foundational principles, but if that's your foundational principle, that we are the British people, and these are the British Isles, and these are us, this is our nation, and our sole goal is the borders, okay? Nationalism, which again, I'm saying I don't believe in that system, those foundations, but if that was the way to do it, that's what you believed, they did it wrong, right? They didn't do it right. If that was your system, okay?
Why do you accept legal immigration?
That's what I'm saying.
For like hundreds of years, you accepted legal immigration.
Yeah, and then you're crying? How does this make any
They
sense?
didn't just jump into your country. You allowed them and you let them in.
All of these,
Sponsored these people.
exactly, all these people living in the UK that you don't like, the Somalis, and then the Turks in North London, and the Moroccans in West London, and then a lot of Jamaicans, a lot of, forget the Indian subcontinent, that's a default by now, right? Bengalis, and all of Green Lane is Bengalis. And all of East London, humongous Pakistani community, right? So if you are actual nationalists people and you want to uphold a national identity and national borders, then you should have imported people on like 6-month work visa, 2-year work visa, work 2 years and leave.
Why'd you give them citizenship? Like,
You gave them citizenship. Now you're whining about it 20 or 30 years later when their kids are now grown up. And what do those kids, what were they taught at the table? So you imported the very poor working class people because you needed stuff done. And they were very poor because you destroyed their countries. So of course they're going to come take anything to work. They're not going to sit there and do a political analysis, a historical analysis, a consistent, is my place of residence consistent with my beliefs about these people who come? No one's going to do that. They need to work now, right? So they accepted the job. They came to England and they worked. At the dinner table, what do you think they talk about? They say, Papa, they asked me in school what country we're from. All right, tell them we're from India. Okay, good. So what important things should we know about India? Well, we were colonized and destroyed by England. Wait, Baba, aren't we in England right now? Yeah. So there are enemies? Yeah, we hate these people. We're only here because we're poor and we're working. Okay. Don't you think the summary of that has been said in millions of homes? You brought them over after destroying their net. So you say, oh, why does he come and work here if he hates our country? You made him hate your country. The guy doesn't hate Brazil, right? The British, old British guy, Pakistanis and Indians in England, they don't hate Chile. They don't hate Norway because those people never did anything to their countries, right? SubhanAllah. So people are more simple. When he needs a job, he needs a job, right? He's going to get the job wherever he can get it. He's not going to think and say, is this consistent with my, historical beliefs, blah, blah, blah. So in any event, that's what you just said. What do you think happened here with Central Americans? Central Americans come up and they got beef, but they come up here for a living. That's the only place. And this is how Allah transforms populations. See, this is an ayah. Let's go back to it again. We always go back to this again. Okay. And if go back to that ayah. No, the inna al-arda lillahi yurithuha man yasha. Surah Al-A'raf, verse 128. Again, I read this ayah again to remind everybody on the nature of populations on the earth. No people possess a country. Yes, you may temporarily have it, but there's no reason other than the fact that you currently are in control. And yes, we have property rights, but nations, populations are moving all the time. All the time. And Allah is the one who moves one population in and another population out. And that way is through your actions, through people's actions. He does this. And those actions may be good actions in which you'd have blessing and good results and you get the land. Or through evil actions, you'll get the land, but you're going to get cursed too. Allah says very simply, قَالَ مُوسَى لِقَوْمِهِ اسْتَعِينُوا بِاللَّهِ وَاصْبِرُوا. Seek God's help and be patient. إِنَّ الْأَرْضَ لِلَّهِ يُورِثُهَا مَنْ يَشَاءُ مِنْ عِبَادِهِ وَالْعَاقِبَةُ لِلْمُتَّقِينَ. Seek Allah's help and be patient. This earth belongs to Allah alone. He grants it to whomever He wishes from His servants. And the ultimate outcome belongs to the righteous. Which means here that this earth is Allah's. The country, this country does not belong to the Native Americans, doesn't belong to the Dutch. New York doesn't belong to the Dutch. Obviously, it was named after them. They're the ones who actually bought it. They actually purchased it. New York was actually purchased. Legitimate purchase. New Jersey, the Dutch took it from the Lenape. Okay, the Lenape Indians were here. Down the, I don't know who took it. The Spanish maybe. From the Seminoles. The Seminole Indians. They took it from the Seminole Indians. And North Dakota from the Sioux Indians. Nobody owns land. Allah moves populations as he wills. And very clearly, you're seeing the British demographic has completely changed now over the past 20, 30 years. The Canadian demographic has completely changed now. Literally, the NHL, National Hockey League, is officially sponsoring now the games being broadcast in the Indian language, in Punjabi, right? In Punjabi. Because there was a Sikh guy who loved hockey, grew up, loved hockey, like obsessed with hockey. So he started a channel, basically, where the game would be in front of him, and he'd show the game, and he'd broadcast it in Punjabi. NHL didn't care. There wasn't it's like 10 people watching. Give it 5 years later, there's like 1,000 people watching. 5 years after that, there's 20,000 people watching. They said, all right, this is part of our culture now, right? So NHL hockey in Punjabi is a thing. It's an official broadcast. It's his job. Hockey in Punjabi. Okay. All of New Brunswick is now Hispanic for probably a decent 5-mile radius. That happened. It just happens. It's just like so slowly happened. Allah moves the people how he wishes. That's how simple it is, right? Australia was Aboriginal people, and it was violently changed, but it changed, and it's there. They run the country now. So we're not saying by this that no one has property rights and that the governmental laws don't matter. No, not at all. In our religion, governmental laws they're a law as long as they don't contradict God's law. So, for example, when I asked my Shaykh, he says, I asked him, what is the Sharia ruling when the Saudi government requires you disallows you from making Hajj unless you have a visa? He said, we have to follow the rules. He said, they make these rules for a reason, for benefit. We have to follow the rules. We're not about breaking visas. We're not about lying about anything. We're not about stealing. But at the same time, when legal methods are followed, and sometimes illegal, but you start to see very clearly there's no going back. And that's what the America First types, they basically have two philosophies, 2 points, the America First types. The first point is that, why are we sending so much money to Israel? We're aligned in that. They don't mind Israel, but they just don't want to send money to it. They don't mind that Israel stole from the Palestinians. They have no issue with that. If Israel is blowing Palestinians to bits, they have no issue with that. The Matt Walshes, the Tuckers, Tucker's probably the most reasonable of all of them, to be honest. When you listen to him a lot, he is very devout Christian. He's a non-Crusader Christian, it seems. He's a non-Crusader Christian. Fuentes, I think, is a Crusader Christian. Matt Walsh is probably a Crusader Christian. Yeah. No, he's a Nazi Christian for sure. He's little Hitler. By the way, he's gonna be president. I'm telling you. He's khalas, forgiven. They threw everything at him in the crib. He was like just starting off. And Ben Shapiro and all these people threw everything to snuff him out when he was career was just this old. They failed. And now he's on PBD, he's on Tucker. That means you're forgiven. On the non-mainstream right wing, when you go on those two shows, you're forgiven. Soon Marjorie Taylor Greene will be in favor with him and everything. So the two things that they have is they don't want to send their money to Israel. The second thing that they have is that they want America back for the whites. No, you're going against nature. That's not the nature of existence. That's not the nature of life. Even the Romans, if you look at their history, the original people were the Etruscans. Then the Romans came in. And the Romans were from some other place. How about the pharaohs of Egypt? Where did they originate from? From south, from the south, deep south. That's why all their big cities are in the south of Egypt. Then the second version of the pharaohs, because they were knocked out, and who came in to rule Egypt? Hyksos people from the Levant, Philistine area. They came in, they knocked the pharaohs out, and they took over. All right, who came back? Where were the pharaohs from? They were from Libya. There are pharaohs from Libya who they show us here they had reddish hair and lighter skin. Everyone's from somewhere else. And likewise, this country is not gonna be the fairy tale of the 40s and the 50s and the 60s and the 70s where it's white dominated. And it's not that I'm even against their ethnicity, but it's just the facts of life is that populations are always shifting. They're always moving around. إِنَّ الْأَرْضَ لِلَّهِ يُورِثُهَا مَنْ يَشَاءُ مِنْ عِبَادِهِ. This earth is Allah's. He gives it to whoever He wishes. He can give it to them through their good deeds or through their bad deeds. The Polish people and the Ukrainian people are now living in the Middle East. This is not the first time it happened. The French, Italian, German, and British people came and they lived in the Middle East and created the Latin kingdom for about 88 years too, until Salah ad-Din al-Ayyubi knocked them out. So they lived there for 88 years. An entire generation was born in there, growing Arabic. Likewise, the Ukrainians and the Polish Jews, alleged Jews, came down, and Allah gave it to them. I'm saying Allah gave it to them through their wicked means. Doesn't mean it's blessed. Just because Allah gives you something doesn't mean it's blessed. Doesn't mean it was right. Okay. But there's a reason. Allah put them there for a reason. As a test. And for many other wisdoms. And someday they'll be gone too. Everyone comes and goes. There are some very few countries and very few lands that are so remote, usually in the middle of a nation or very far off in the oceans, that people have no reason to bother conquering these lands. All right. All right, let's go to some Q&A. What else we have here? Can you give some insight into starting an Islamic nonprofit, fiqh-wise, the law of the land? Yeah, you just sign up with the government to sign up a nonprofit. To get tax exemption requires another sign up, and you got to follow a bunch of rules. When we started the nonprofit wing here for Safina Foundation, I started up, then COVID hit, so we didn't do anything. And for about a year and a half, there was completely stagnant. So they revoked it. It died off. You know, when it dies off, right? And so we had to get it reinstated. When we wanted to do work, we had to get it redone and reinstated. So you just have to follow a bunch of rules. Many Pakistani people have Indian ancestors. Correction, all of you do. You're all one people, right? In terms of heritage. Am I right or wrong? Pretty much, that subcontinent was one. They have many, many tribes amongst them, but they're all ultimately from one place. Then they put a line in this there. I'm not saying that that's not right or good. I think it is good for Muslims to have their own land, but ultimately, when you think about it, it was one swath. Imagine somebody now comes and says, we're making South United States and North United States, and makes a line in the sand, and takes the middle America and goes down to let's say, keeps New York, a little bit of Chicago and California, and then puts a line there. and says this is northern USA and southern USA. 2 generations later, you can't say it's all the same, right? It's just a line that you put in the sand. In any event, is donating your hair to charity? No, we're not allowed to do that, to use our body for those purposes, but they could wear other kinds of wigs. Why is hadith, this is very interesting. Why is hadith 18 in the 40 hadith Qudsi similar to the parable of the sheep and the goat from the Gospel of Matthew chapter 25? I'm just going to give you a high level of this. Some people say, why do Muslims fast, Jews also fast? What was it? Christians give charity, Muslims give charity.
The Hindus fast.
Yeah. Virgin Mary wore hijab, Muslims wore hijab. Catholics used to wear hijab before Muslims. So does it show that you stole from Christianity? The Prophet took it from Christianity. Or they had the same origin. And that's why literally there are same verses that Ka'b al-Ahbar, he would tell the Sahaba, this verse right here in Arabic, we have the same verse in Hebrew.
Surah Mulk, right?
What did he say?
The entirety of Surah, I don't know about that part. I heard the Surah Mulk, the entirety of Surah
Mhm.
Mulk was in the Torah.
Subhanallah.
I think you said that. I watched your.
I read it once. I think I've read that. Right?
Your series.
Yeah. I think that's literally what it was. It was from Ka'b al-Ahbar when he said Suratul Mulk is in the Torah.
The entirety of it was the exact
Yeah.
line by line.
Subhanallah. This is the word of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's the same source. It's the same religion with, of course, abrogations and alterations that happened to previous religions. But that's the logic. When I see that you're wearing something and another person's wearing something, does the logic say that the younger person copied the older person? Possibly. Or possibly the younger person and the older person shopped at the same store, saw the same discount, bought the same item. That's also possible, right? Can we pay a medical bill in smaller amounts for some months, but with riba, or do you have to pay everything all at once without riba? You try to avoid the riba as much as you can. That's it. You try to avoid riba as much as you can. Psycho Stewie says, that's weird. I can cut off my hair and throw it in a ditch, but I can't use it in a wig to benefit someone else. The reason is that the Sharia of Islam does not want the human being to be a resource for other human beings, because that can lead to abuse. So yes, by throwing it out and there's no benefit from it, that would not lead to any abuse. But once you know that, oh, money can be made from this person, from their hair, that's the beginning of abuse.
So what about donating like blood?
Donating blood and organs is for dire needs only. Okay. So the human being is not meant to be a resource for other human beings to benefit from. All right, we're just going to go straight to the Q&A. I mean, there's no news on Sami Hamdi. How's our fundraising? Hit refresh. Nice. 4,668. Amazing. That's great. Allah reward all of you. If a couple fruits were stolen, can one give Sadaqa for the victim instead of returning the money? No, you should return the money. You should return the money. So if I nabbed some money from somebody, I owe them that money, but I don't have to give them my identity. I could put the money in an envelope and said, this is what was stolen from you. I'm paying it back. Boom, here it is. Because if you give them your identity, you could cause more trouble. All right, what is Mustafa Ahmed talking about? Makeup prayers, maybe? So Mustafa Ahmed, what you're referring to is in the Hanbali school only, by the way, if you're saying that about obligatory prayers. But if someone didn't pray for 20 years, in the Hanafi, Shafi, and Maliki schools, he owes 20 years of salah. So that's Adventures of Fuad. But Mustafa Ahmed, you may be giving something from the Hanbali school, which is different, which, if I'm not mistaken, I'll get a correction exactly from Dr. Ahmed Mitwali or John Starling, Sheikh John Starling, but you're not allowed to make them up. So it's in a sense a type of honor to be able to make up your missed prayers. You're not allowed to make them up, is from what I saw. But in the Hanbali school has a different ruling. But in the Hanafi, Shafi, and Maliki schools, you do have to make up those prayers. So for the next 15 years, you will not pray nawafil except for very few, such as witr. And of course, the sunnahs not related to the prayers, such as, and to the 5 prayers, such as Eid, istikhara, istisqa. And then for every salah, you pray twice. You pray the prayer of now and one extra prayer, and do this for the next 15 years. What can you do if you owe someone money and they died without heirs? Great question. In that case, where does their money go? To the Sadaqa. So that's where you give the money. If I owed somebody $3,000, then he died and he has no heirs, I give charity $3,000 with the intention that that charity is going to them. Okay. T has a question. What if you stole as a child? Yes, you still owe the money. So you have no sin, but you owe the money. So we separate between the rights and the sins. And you may have no sin, but you still have to give back the rights. Let's say a child stole gum packs, or let's say gum from somebody. Technically speaking, he owes his friend a stick of gum. Or let's say a youth, he's 9, 10 years old, and he was stealing money from the cash register at his dad's workplace. He estimates how much, and he goes and he puts it back. He has no sin because he's a child, but he does have to fulfill the rights. Okay. Is each prayer worth 27 makeup prayers? No. No, it's not like that. Each prayer is worth one prayer only. Should I give up praying sunnah and pray the makeup prayers instead? Says Pebbles 222. Yes, you don't pray nawafil or sunan. There's no sunan when you owe makeup prayers. If you owe me $1 million, you shouldn't be buying me gifts. You should be paying your debt, right? So when you owe salah, you don't pray sunan anymore, except what I said, witr and Eid and istisqa and istikhara, etc. All your busyness beyond that, you don't go like people pray 3 rakahs maghrib and then 2 rakahs sunnah. No, you're not praying 2 rakahs sunnah. You pray maghrib, right? You pray maghrib instead of that 2 rakahs sunnah. People go to dhuhr and they pray a couple rakahs before dhuhr, then they pray dhuhr, then they pray some more rakahs. No, you're not going to do that. You're going to pray dhuhr, a makeup dhuhr, and then the dhuhr of now, and so on and so forth. If we stole from a business that is no longer operating, can we give sadaqah to compensate? All right, good. A lot of people stealing today, all right? And all sorts of different forms of theft. Theft of a child, theft from somebody who died without inheritors, theft from a business that's no longer in place. So the business, if it's a small business and you know the owner, then you have to give it to them. But it's a huge business like Walmart, then give the sadaqah. Can you pray tarawih when you owe makeup prayers? No, you do not do that. But there is a fatwa that says if you made up your makeup prayers for the day, then just for the sake of being with the community, you can go to the masjid and pray with them. But if you're staying home, you don't pray tarawih. You just pray makeup prayers. Okay. Do we consider Christians to be mushrikeen? So there's a general, when the word mushrik or kafir is used by itself, it means all non-Muslims, Christian or otherwise. We say that by itself. But when we lump them together, then mushrik refers to pagans, mulhid refers to atheists, kitabi refers to Jews or Christians, and all of them are non-believers. Okay. So we do have, so when we bring these terms together, there's a difference between them. But when we're just talking by itself, then yeah, they're all kafir, mushrik, all that's the same, synonymous. And this is a common thing in the Arabic language where one word used by itself, it's synonymous, it has a general meaning, but when we bring them together, it has a specific meaning. I'll give you another example. Al-Yahud. Al-Yahud. Yehuda was the fourth son of Jacob, and he was their leader, and the best of them, the strongest of them in terms of politics and leadership. And of course, Prophet Yusuf was out in Egypt. So he was their leader, and leadership remained in his lineage all the way until the end, all the way until Nebuchadnezzar came and took them into Babylonian captivity. So because the leadership always was in the line of Yehuda, they were known as Yahud. The outside nations started calling them Yahud. Okay. And when they split after Solomon's time, Prophet Solomon's time, the 10 northern tribes became known as Israel. The bottom 2 tribes became known as Yehuda. So that's another reason why they were called Yahud. So when you say Yahud, it's specifically, it's only one of the 12 tribes. But if you're saying it by itself, it means all of them. That's how they refer to all of them. Okay. Is there a limit of how many times you can do a specific sin before God will not forgive you? All sins, no matter how many times you've done them, are forgivable, believe it or not. If you had killed 1 million people, it is still a forgivable sin. That doesn't mean the forgiveness will be easy, and that doesn't mean it's going to be like a light switch. No, you still have victims. So you have to, how does Allah going to forgive you on the day of judgment when I have 1 million victims? If a tyrant has 1 million victims, then at the end of his life, he seeks repentance. Number one, it doesn't mean he's going to die, and because he repented, he's in heaven right away. No, that's not what we believe. When he killed, you did something to your soul. You're going to suffer for that. You will find suffering. They will be purified in the next life. On top of that, if Allah wills for you to go to paradise and he accepts your repentance, you still have victims. How are you going to compensate your victims? You have no good. First thing is compensation is by taking your good deeds and giving it to them, or their bad deeds and giving them to you. But what if Allah wants to forgive both sides? So he's not going to give you their sins nor take away your good deeds. So what's he going to do? He's going to create palaces in paradise, and he's going to offer it to the victim in exchange for them forgiving you. And the Prophet tells us in one of these hadiths. And the hadith states that the victim actually said, that Allah created a palace in paradise. And the victims liked it and said, for who is that? They said, for the one who forgives his oppressor. Nah, wasn't enough. So he didn't forgive his oppressor. Then Allah showed him another palace. And he said, for whom is that? He said, both of these palaces are for the one who forgives his oppressor. That was enough. So he said, oh Allah, I'll forgive my oppressor. So Allah gave him the 2 palaces in paradise. And hence Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala takes over the buyout of the victims. And the victims will willingly be pleased with what Allah gave them in exchange for forgiveness. That's how people with many, many victims who repent at the end of their lives and Allah accepts their repentance, He purifies them in their death and in the afterlife and in the day of judgment and facing all these court cases is a miserable purification. They're not going to be happy beings. We don't have this concept that I'm going to victimize hundreds of thousands of people, and then at the end of my life, astaghfirullah, a light switch turns on and everything's hunky-dory. No. There's purification to go through. Then you have to sit with every victim, and Allah Ta'ala offers them places in paradise and forgiveness and reward until they're pleased. That's it. Ramarni Mahmood. What are they saying here? All right, here's a question from ZK. What if you see a dream of a deceased relative suffering and complaining to you about their suffering? Make istighfar for them, give charity on their behalf. Next morning, wake up, go get some Sadaqa, and pay it on their behalf. Recite some Quran and send them the reward. This is called Isal al-Thawab. That it's transferring the good deeds to them. So Allah made you see that dream for a reason. And usually, as the dream interpreters in their usul, they say that if you see something true, see something from the deceased, it's true. Because there's no lying from the barzakh. And the lying is only in here, in this life. Is Abu Yazid al-Bistami from the righteous awliya? That's what I heard. There are mixed views on statements attributed to him. I don't know if anything is attributed to him correctly. And I don't know what the statements even are.
Is that certain mother?
No, I don't know it. We could look it up afterwards. I've heard women are not allowed to travel without a mahram. Yeah, in general, that's true. There's exceptions. There are exceptions. But in general, that's true. I've heard from scholars say back in the day it wasn't safe. Now it's much safer to travel. So they can travel in a women's group. So women's group is one exception, even in general community group. But overall, that is a fatwa that it's in the minority. And the majority hold that this is an absolute rule, that women don't travel without a mahram. And safety is not the only illah. There are other ilal or legal causes for it. So yes, it is true that some scholars have said what you said. That's but that is not the majority. The majority hold that she has to have a mahram to travel, but they have exceptions: Hajj, Umrah, dire needs.
Going to work, like a woman is driving to work by herself. Is that now traveling?
That's not traveling. Traveling meaning, in one hadith says the distance of a day and a night, like that. Or the traveling distance, like 36 miles. There's a lot of things besides being accosted that could happen when a woman travels by herself. Do you ever fear evil eye since you do many public videos and things like that? Well, first of all, from what I was taught, evil eye has to be in person. And it's far more dangerous to do in-person events than get hasad like that, than to do something on a screen. And many people say that hasad does not transfer through a screen. But yeah, you have to do the adhkar if you're in a position like this, and you have to work. You have to work to so much that it's like an unenviable job. And it is in many ways. Like get maybe 1 hour for yourself every day. So you have to work so hard that it's an unenviable job. And not all the work is this nice work on front of the computer and with people and answering questions and talking. And a lot of the work is not that. It's other stuff that has to be done. And nobody should have hasad for anybody. No one should show off. People in dawah, they should not show off. They should be humble, stick to their local jama'ah as much as they can. Right. Taking the trips to go out, like I'm going to be in England. It's to see the ummah, to see the community, but also to help our orphans. Our Syrian orphans. I want to rewrite the blurb on the GRT page. Yeah. You want to pull it up, Edif? Tomorrow. Okay, let's see how we're doing on launch good. Move it over.
Maybe we need to play that video again.
Ah, good idea. Fuzz, man. You're doing a great job.
People pay for this.
Go. All right, brothers and sisters. Here we go. We're underway. Okay? Demolition is underway. And guess what we need? You won't believe it. In order to get this job done to be an industrial, commercial level kitchen, you guessed it, fulus. And guess who's gonna pay that fulus? You are gonna give Sadaqa to this Launch Good campaign because you covered the whole kitchen already. Okay, this is actually gonna go to the tenant apartment upstairs, which we're gonna redo and rent out to support the soup kitchen. Okay, this little fridge is, well, I don't know, but it's not regulation and it's gonna need a hood. There's gonna be a hood here. This whole window is gonna be replaced. And it's gonna be a commercial grade kitchen. So we will do the cooking right here. Let's see what these guys are doing outside. Oh, see the demolition of the cabinets right here. All this junk. We're gonna have everything's gonna be industrial and commercial level so that we could actually cook big vats right there for cooking. So all the cooking will happen here. And then our plan is to get the routine down very efficiently to feed, let's say, 100 people or 150 people. And then after that, once we get that down, then we know our costs and we could rinse and repeat. And add a second day, add a third day, add a fourth day. It's all community driven. The Sadaqa of the community. No zakah though. This is not zakah eligible. Alif, click the read more button. What is that? Oh, nothing. Okay, just to bottom of the video. So there you go, folks. We need that falus. That guy's not going to work for nothing. These contractors. They're not going to work for nothing. So we need 44. Hit the refresh again real quick, Adifu. Okay. We're almost at 4,700. It's wonderful. Wonderful. Okay, here we go. Another question here says, did Ibn Hajar al-Haytami say, firstly, I never read from Ibn Hajar al-Haytami, so I can't answer you right at all, regardless of what's next. So from the usul of it, I can't answer it. Looking at a reflection without lust isn't like looking at a real body. If yes, can I then watch UFC but not hit others myself? No. If that's the case, their question should be, can you watch pornography then? Right? Why limit it to UFC? Right? If we're saying that only looking at the real body, the physical body, is what's unlawful, then can I watch UFC? No, go all the way. No, nothing like that. What about traveling for education? No. The rules of women traveling apply still to all those, what we just said, except fard ayn knowledge. If she needs to learn how to pray, for example, then yes. But the day of the internet, nobody needs that. No one needs to travel for that. Of course, learning knowledge face-to-face, one-on-one is way better, always, all the time. But we can't say that it's it would permit a woman to travel by herself just to learn something like that. However, there are exceptions too, like going in a group or a short trip. Maybe you can say maybe there are some exceptions. We just given you the general gist of it, but there are always exceptions. Coolest says right-wingers say racist stuff to indigenous people because there is still a little bit of that closet KKK in them. And what is our position as Muslims, even though they were conquered long ago? If theft is established, there's actually no statute of limitations on theft in Islam. That means if a Polish person stole a house in Jerusalem, and we know that, and there's records that this was, let's say, the Khalili house, and then the Polish guy died, his son took over, the Khalili owner died, his son is now alive, and the son goes and says, this used to be our home, right? Milkovich stole it from us. And then so the information, the certainty is transmitted, even if it's transmitted 10 generations. That 10th grandson still owes it back. If we were now to say, okay, nation of Israel canceled, we're just going to have a neutral nation like Switzerland, and you're all going to have the same rights. Now we're going to have court. And the Khalili family, 10 generations later, here's the record. And this is the proof that it was stolen. Milkowitz has to give it back. So there's no statute of limitation on theft in the Sharia. There's a statute of limitations on other sins. Like what? If a man gambled and sold wine and made millions of dollars, then he dies. His son inherits the money. It's halal for his son. We're not saying it's blessed money, but it is halal. Because the money, when it goes into someone, it's like washing the money. That's what they do when they wash the money laundering, essentially. So you're not going to be accountable for how the person giving you the money earned his money. You're not accountable for that. Because if that was the case, then no one would ever make any sales. No one would make any trades. Okay? Everything would be haram. So a gas station attendant, how would he know?
Senate for money.
There can't be. Yeah, you would have to have a Senate for money. We can't have a Senate for money. We can't have a chain of transmission for money. That means a gas station attendant comes in, guy gives him money. He's supposed to just ask him? No.
Take the serial number, put it in the system.
Exactly.
Where did you get this from? Are they trustworthy?
Exactly. None of that. So to cut it, the Sharia says you're only responsible for the single transaction that you're engaged in. That's it. If a woman wants to go to Umrah but her Mahram is too busy, is it better for her not to go? It's halal for her to go without a Mahram. If someone said a kufri statement when thinking about Aqeedah question but repents, all his good deeds gone. No, what you think and even accidentally come to a conclusion with before researching, you're not taken into account for. What does iqamatud deen truly mean? It's a general term for the establishment of the religion, and in specific in the chapter on governance, it's what the Khalifa has to do, or the Sultan or the king has to do. We don't believe in monarchy, by the way. It's not, ruling is never a birthright. It's never a birthright to rule. You rule because the leaders of the community deem you worthy of ruling. Okay. But if a birthright king takes over power and he has consolidated power, then his rule must be followed. Okay. The same if someone who stole power, someone who came in and he conquered another country. It was sinful for him to do that, but once he consolidates power, that's not now the law of the land, the recognized law of the land. When I always feel like I'm going to sin, I take a ghusl. Is it allowed? Or is it okay to do that if the sake for if a person wants to commit sins, maybe they have some addiction or something, and say, if I take a ghusl, if I take a shower, the desire will go away. What's wrong with that? No one, as long as you realize that you're just doing so willingly. It's not something you're obligated to do. Can you combine missed fasts and nafila? La. You can either do qada or nafila, but you can't combine qada and nafila. Is it permissible to make a bad dua against someone who wronged you? In general, no. We don't make dua against people. In general, we don't do that. Can we eat vanillin in the Hanafi school? Yes. It's been completely altered. Why does Allah Ta'ala tell us that every good thing is from Allah and every bad thing is from our nafs, but Allah created everything? Correct. Allah Ta'ala created everything, but He did not. You are the one who intended to do the bad deed. Okay. Correct. It's like He created the gun. So whatever good you use for the gun, you owe gratitude, right? But if you use the gun outside of the realm He told you to use, that's on you. If you use your hand for good, you get rewarded, but first you have to thank God who gave you the hands. So wherever we use the Hassan, I'm going to get your question. Wherever we use something for the good, that is, we owe Allah gratitude because He gave us the means. But if we use what Allah gave us outside of what He told us, that's on us, right? That's on us. All right, what is Hassan's question? Hassan. Ooh. Adam copy and pasted it. Can't see Hassan's question.
How should the brother react and maintain relationship with family?
The first part is father allows daughter to stay out of the house late at night for work, even beyond midnight. The daughter also travels to other countries for multiple days for work without hijab.
Father allows his daughter to do all these sinful things, or highly discourage things, or differed upon things, or a combination of such things. That's on him. He's sinful for that. Where he allows sinfulness to take place, he's sinful. Where he allows halal things, and he's not sinful. What's the question? That's a statement. What is the question?
How should the brother react or maintain the relationship with the family?
He has to keep teaching them the deen and teaching them taqwa and encouraging piety. And then the rules come afterwards. See, in Islam, if you really want someone to behave in a certain way, if you really want someone to behave in a certain way, you have to affect his heart first to act in that manner.
There's one thing I don't understand. Why is it that some women, like, they wear the hijab 95% of the way, like this, but still have like a couple strands showing? Like, if you already have it on, why can't you just like 100% put it on?
You're saying, why is it that some people wear and they let bangs come from their hijab?
Yeah, it's like 95% on. You might as well just put it on the right way.
Yeah, I don't understand of doing something 95% at all. What's the point?
Would their prayers be accepted?
Yeah, it'd be accepted, but sinful but valid.
Okay.
Yeah. How do you dispose of hair, facial hair, nails, body hair? You can just throw it out. Yes, in the past, the Prophet ﷺ used to dig and put it out. There weren't garbages back then. Some people say because it will testify for you, so you have to honor it. But ultimately, from what I understand, it was just that there wasn't any place to dispose of things. And if you just left it, it would be blowing in the wind. You'd have hairs and nails blowing in the wind. They didn't have receptacles back in the day. That's one view of it. We have to stop here because Elif got to go to class.
No, today I finished class.
What time is class for you?
I came from class today, so it's good on Tuesday.
Okay, good. Can we donate to another religion's charity that is benefiting the community? I don't think we should, because it'll increase their success and their people will thank them. People will owe them gratitude. Parents force someone to shave his beard off. When he grows up and he moves out of the house, then he can have a beard. She says, regarding hijab, Maya Rahab says, I'm not 100% sure, but I think it's a mix of cultural and stylistic reasons. People have varying levels. I guess they have varying levels of confidence. We ask Allah for guidance. I guess maybe some people, when they put bangs under their hijab, they feel like they look prettier. Allah knows best. Not our. That's on them. We all know the rules, and it's on them how they want to apply the rules. But the teachers continue to teach the right thing. And a man can teach the rules of hijab, but it's more effective when it comes from one of their peers. Is an ultra-wealthy person who says, I don't give to the poor because they're prowlers and didn't work as hard as me and are lazy, a mutakabbir, and is being aware of your humility, pride. First of all, being aware of your humility is not a source of pride unless you think that your humility makes you better than others. That's the problem. Secondly, we can't judge all the poor people. There are a lot of people who are, yes, if someone is a panhandler, I don't give him, and I would have them arrested. Okay. Panhandling is not accepted in Sharia. Panhandling is that you're not poor, but you're pretending to be poor. So it's a form of lying. Or that you are poor, but you have resorted yourself to never work, and you have 2 arms and 2 legs, but you resorted to just do this. It's easier. That person should be removed from the streets because he's taking money from the correct places of Sadaqa, from the actual poor people. He's redirecting it to himself. And you can't judge all the poor people to be like this because the people who are actually, as I said here, the day laborers, these guys work probably physically harder than all of us. I'm actually would say 100% physically. The physical manual labor that these guys do. And in order to make money, they have to work a lot of hours. Therefore, they're up and about at 6, 7, 8 a.m. and engaging in physical labor all day until 5 p.m. when they leave, taking only one small break. This is blessed wealth. And yet they're still poor. So they deserve money. And someone that rich doesn't want to give any sadaqah. So then if that's the case, then why did Allah ordain it? If that's the case, why did Allah ordain sadaqah? Because sometimes the sadaqah is not for the sake of the person, nor do they deserve it. But you need it to forgive your arrogant self. Because one time a man came to the Prophet ﷺ, and the Prophet ﷺ saw him. The Prophet saw a man and then said, or maybe it was Prophet Angel Jibreel came and told him, a man today gives sadaqah, and in fact, he had given sadaqah to a thief. And everyone shakes their head. Now you give sadaqah to a man, turns out he's a thief. Next day, Prophet ﷺ said, a man of you gives sadaqah, turns out it was a prostitute. Everyone shakes their head. Here, money's over. Turns out she's a prostitute. Okay. Third day, Prophet ﷺ says, one of you gives sadaqah. Turns out he gave sadaqah to a rich man. Who gives sadaqah to a rich man? The Sahaba are saying to themselves, this guy doesn't know how to say. Fourth, that day, the man raised his hand and said, oh, Messenger of Allah, then tell us about sadaqah because it's me all last 3 days and I don't know what to do. I don't know who's who, right? I see someone looks poor, I give him money. Prophet ﷺ said, and why would you feel this way when you got rewarded every single day? You gave sadaqah to the thief. He didn't steal that night. You gave sadaqah. She turned out to be a prostitute. She didn't have to prostitute herself that night. You gave sadaqah to the man. He turned out to be rich. He felt embarrassed. And he himself started to give sadaqah. So there comes an aspect where we don't have to worry so much about the poor person and pass a judgment on him as if you're his Lord. When you see someone who's miskeen, we give sadaqah. And I'll tell you who are the best people to give sadaqah to. Servers at restaurants. Next time you go to New York, next time you go out to eat, you swing by to the bank first and pull out a bunch of tens. Let's say you're going to go splurge money anyway. Going out and having fun, essentially, ultimately, is splurging money. I don't understand someone who wants to go out and have a good time and is stingy. The whole concept of going out to have a good time is essentially taking some money and burning it. That's at essence what it is. In exchange, I get some happiness, right? So why would you be stingy on yourself? So if you're going to go spend $100 out, $100 is nothing. You're going to spend $400 out for a night out on the town. You might as well make it 440. And what is that? Another sacred special number, meme number? Because last time I said a meme number too, right?
You said that again, by the way. You're like 6, 7, 8 a.m.
Oh, okay. So, because Fuzzle is my information on what's a meme number these days. So, so in any event, you get 10, 10, 10. And when you are being served by a miskeen person and you see him collecting the dishes or brooming the ground or cleaning the bathroom, give him $10. How do I know if a dream is from Allah? Usually, dreams that are from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala come in a symbolic manner so that you know that it is not from your ego, from your consciousness and your thought. That's how Allah separates them. Because let's say I'm thinking about something every day, then I see it in my dream. What are we all going to say? It's just your thoughts. But if Allah gives it to you in code, okay, then you don't even know what it means, right? How would you have thought of that code? So Allah gives it to you in symbols. And then a good dream interpreter can unlock the symbols. And the way they unlock the symbols may differ from one to the next in the same way that they make tafsir of the Quran, right? Or of hadith, or of any ibarah. But when symbols are strong and clear and a dream, then you can have multiple dream interpreters all ending up with the same conclusion, then you know it's very strongly so. I don't have a list of people. I only have a teacher in Egypt that I asked to, and he's a very good dream interpreter. What's your view on the two-stage solution? Omar Suleiman considers it a joke. So do I. What is the most rewarding thing you could do for your parents after passing? Sadaqa, and recite Quran and give it to them. And you yourself have taqwa. Last question. If I see a brother I don't know making a mistake that invalidates their salah, do I correct him even though he may get offended, and how? The answer is yes, but there's a nice way to do it. Okay? You have to firstly, you become warm to them. Assalamu alaikum, how are you? All that stuff. And then say, do you mind if I tell you one thing? And let them say yes. Once they say yes, then say, you don't tell him you did this, you did this. Say, if a person does this in salah, okay, then it invalidates their salah. And that's... Arsalan says tipping is a stupid system. No one should do it. Tip 0% everywhere. Oh.
If they were getting paid properly, yeah.
No, if they worked, right? Like if it's one of the behind the counter things and there's no work, then the app just gives you the tip thing anyway. It's just in the app. It's built into the app. So you hit 0. But if they worked and they came to you and went back and forth and they had to be nice to you, right? Then yeah, I tip. I think we should tip good.
Also, some restaurants are like completely tip dependent systems. Like they get paid below minimum wage. And
Yep.
Their entire wage is dependent on tips.
Mm-hmm. Is it possible for Christians who practice good to receive messages in their dreams to bring them closer to God? Yes, it is. And it happened. There was a Muslim convert who said that his dream, he saw one of the prophets in his dream and told him, Muhammad is right. I think it was one of the Hebrew prophets. Amazing story. Amazing story. Does giving money to non-Muslim count as Sadaqa? Yes, it is. Zakat can go only to Muslims. Obligatory output has to go to Muslim, but Sadaqa can go to non-Muslim. Some people say tipping allows businesses to keep wages low. Yeah, maybe that does make sense, but you still can't leave the guy who did work and smiled and did all that nice stuff with nothing. Does it mean something in a dream if you saw a person that you definitely have never seen or thought about in a long time? It could mean something related to their name. It could be a form of an angel, and it could be just a symbolic for a person. Okay, but usually it's an angel. But I'm just saying generally, strangers in dreams can be like that. Can be like that. What can you react on a Leicester Imam glazing the Tommy Robinson issue? No, I don't know anything about that, so I can't answer that. But I can't answer that, no, because I didn't see it. But of course, Tommy Robinson, we know who he is. It's just a Zionist show for the Zionists. He's going to also have one of those people who's going to have a miserable ending to his life when he comes and realizes that everything he fought for turned out to be on the losing side of things. And inshallah, also sooner than later. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله. All right, folks, let's pray.
Kalbe şifa